My relationship with money and debt when I was in my 20s was just shocking. And I remember the first time I got an overdraft, it wasn't even for anything useful. I'm pretty sure I got it because I wanted to go out for brunch and I didn't have $50.
How does one go about finding themselves without having to go on a Bali retreat?
I always tell people all you need to do is take the first step and the second will follow, then the third will follow. People are so willing to help you if they can see that you believe in yourself. I think that has to come first. I look back on some of my videos that I've still got on my page. That is like vomit-inducing, but look at the opportunities it's unlocked me. No one cares as much about what you're doing as you do because they're all thinking about themselves.
She loves to cook at her house, your house, or even for hundreds of people. Rose from Rose's Dining Table, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too, Luke.
Yeah, let's get straight into it. I believe you've got a big event coming up in Tauranga.
Yep, yes I do. I've just launched my next immersive supper club, which is called Chapel. Yeah.
Awesome. And so what's the, what can people expect at that?
Basically, a supper club is like an immersive dining event. This one has a Las Vegas wedding theme, so you can kind of come and expect some weird, crazy conceptual dining, but basically just like an epic night out. So all the fun parts of a wedding, but none of the commitment.
Yeah, yep. I love it. Okay, so how can people find details for that?
You can find it all on my Instagram page, Rose's Dining Table, or on my website, rosesdiningtable.co.nz.
Cool. Okay, so there's 200 tickets, is that right?
Yes, 200 tickets, although I've only got 70 left.
Wow.
Yeah.
Far out. Well done. So how does one come to be hosting 200 people at an event at a Las Vegas-styled immersive supper club?
Yeah, that's a good question, I guess. And I think if you'd asked me 2 years ago, I would have not been able to tell you. Yeah, so I've kind of been, I've had my business Rose's Dining Table for about 5 years now, but it was always something I kind of did on the side of a full-time corporate role. And it just kind of came out of a place of hosting in people's homes. Effectively, I'm like a dinner party host. So a lot of people have big, beautiful homes or just any home really where they want to get a group of friends together, but they feel a little bit too overwhelmed to host.
Yeah. Okay. And so where does the love for cooking come from?
I learned to cook because I love to eat, basically. Yeah. So when I was younger, I burnt a massive hole in my wallet. Basically, when I was living in Auckland, going out 4 times a week, spending every cent I could get my hand on food. So eventually, when I went abroad to London, I just started learning to cook.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so you start learning to cook, and then do your friends start saying to you, hey, could you cook for us? Or where does it go from it being something you enjoy yourself to more people?
I guess kind of to take it back a bit further from that, I was working a corporate role in sales for about 10 years, not really having much direction in what I wanted to do. And I guess I was just feeling a little bit lost, I guess. I didn't really quite know who I was or what I was doing. I didn't have that spark that really made me me. So I started a page, Rose's Dining Table, on Instagram as a place to kind of share my recipes, share my love of cooking, and just as a way to kind of connect back to myself, in the hope to connect back to myself. And from there, I remember one of my best friends roped all our friends into doing like a Come Dine With Me series. So when it was my turn, I did like a big crazy styled table, created a 3-course menu, and I shared it on my Instagram. And from there, people just loved it. They went nuts for it. And I decided, cool, I'm going to share more of this because my greatest joy in life is hosting. And the more I shared, the more messages I got from people saying, hey, can you do this for me? Like, I'd love to have this in my home, but I'm too terrified. I can't cook for this many people. And it just really naturally came about.
Wow. So you're looking for an outlet or to release some of your creativity maybe and discover yourself and whatnot. You post on socials, people start noticing, and then people start saying, this looks epic, come and do it for me.
Yes. Yeah. Basically.
Wicked. Okay. What was that first supper club like that you ran? How terrified were you?
I think definitely a little terrified. I remember it was for 6 people. I charged $62 a head.
Yeah.
So wasn't making much, and that also included me travelling from Tauranga to Hamilton for it. But it was just that moment where someone presented an opportunity and I had to say yes. I thought, yeah, I will do this. Like, I love doing this. And from it just kind of went from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And what are some of the larger ones where you've got a 200-person event coming up? But typically, how big are the groups that you're hosting and cooking for?
I do everything from really intimate groups of 8, normally up to around 30 or 40 in people's homes. Tends to be the bigger events that people really want that support with. But I guess the service I provide is quite a bespoke experience, so it's for people wanting like a different way to celebrate. Yeah.
And are those people finding you still through the social content, or?
Yes, I would say so. When I quit my job, I put a lot of pressure on myself that I needed this big professional website and needed to have a way for people to book me in the big bad real world. But 95% of my customers find me on Instagram, so I do lean into that.
Yeah. Okay. Just so for the listeners, when did you quit your job, and did you, when you quit your job, was it like, I'm going all in on this?
I had kind of done my supper clubs and developed that concept over maybe 18 months alongside my full-time role, and then I fell pregnant. And maternity leave is such a perfect time in someone's life where you get to step back from your day job for like a year or 6 months or however long you take. And I always say it was one of the most challenging times to go all in on my business, but also would I have done it if I didn't have that opportunity? Because it must be so hard to wake up one day and be like, yep, you take back my full-time salary, here's the keys to my corporate car, you know, my health insurance. So for me, when I went on maternity leave, I took a full year. The first 6 months I was just at home with my bubba, and then the next 6 months I was like, okay, I'm going to get my pipeline full. If I'm ever going to give it a go, now is the time.
Wow. Yeah. Do you see, or have you spoken to other people that have done the same thing?
No, not really at that point in time, because for me it wasn't going to be a side hustle. It needed to be my full-time career, and I've always been someone who's really career focused. And I think often with mums, when we start things like this, we get a lot of like, oh, you've got a little side hustle on the side of being a mum. Whereas for me, it needed to work financially. Like I was really passionate about earning decent money and, you know, being able to surpass the opportunities I already had in my current career. Yeah.
And were like friends and even like other mums, you know, are they supportive, or are they sort of, you know, when you use that language, oh, you've got a little side hustle, maybe I'm picking up wrongly, that sometimes other people look at what people are doing and think like, oh, you know, that's just this little thing. You're like, don't tell me how little or big this is.
Yeah. I think not from other mums, just maybe, a little bit, I think, from society. I think there's a whole lot of pressure that goes onto new parents and especially new mums around, are you going to go back to work? What capacity is that? If you're going to have more than one child, it's like such a conflict of like, I've always been really career driven, and I probably put off kids for a while because that was the rhetoric I felt like I was fed a lot. It was like, you're going to get behind in salary if you go on maternity leave. Maternity leave contributes to the gender pay gap. So for me, it was really important to make it work.
And you end up with a lower KiwiSaver balance.
Yeah,
like all
totally.
These things, right? Yeah. Okay. So I guess when you fell pregnant, you're probably already in a state of mind of, do I want to do this corporate thing forever, right? So you're already shortening the runway. Do you think that makes it then almost a little bit easier when you go, right, I have to go all in on making whatever the venture is work?
Absolutely, yeah. Because over that 18 months of me slowly creating my concept of the supper clubs and testing the market, you know, gaining confidence with customers, I felt myself come alive in those 18 months, and I was like, oh my gosh, I know who I am again. Like, for 10 years in a corporate career, I didn't do anything creative. And although I loved that role, as I started my business, I just felt that happiness come back and a sense of purpose too. So it was definitely a motivating thing to be like, yep, I've got a year, let's get this going. And the worst thing that was ever going to happen is I would have to go get a job.
Yeah.
I backed myself to get a job. So, you know, why not try?
Yeah, it's funny how we, you know, don't accept that that's really the only risk, is that maybe then we don't have the job right. But I think for a lot of people, we look at well, what if I can't pay my mortgage? I've got these commitments. You've got to maintain the life that you already have. And sometimes we're not willing to, or open to taking a couple of steps back to then completely change it.
Yes, definitely. And I think that's something I probably didn't realise at the time, but I definitely came to terms with in the first kind of 2 years of my business, because I couldn't go out and get a nice bigger house like all my friends were doing, because I just needed to focus on trying to, first of all, replace my old income and then grow from there as well.
What advice would you have for people then around like running your own race? Because we do live in a world where, it's so easy to compare ourselves to others.
I think it's working out what's important to you and what's your purpose. And for me, it's so easy to get bogged down by trying to keep up with people, wanting the new house, the new car, going on holidays. But once you know what really fills your cup and what gives you fulfillment, it helps you prioritise your decisions. And for me, that thing is feeling authentic, and by chasing this dream, that's how I feel. Yeah.
Okay, so on that, how does one go about finding themselves without having to go on a Bali retreat? Or finding what fills their cup up? Because I'd imagine there'd be a lot of people listening to this that are in that corporate-y mode, good salary, people would say, well, you must have a great life, but, it's eating away at them that they know deep down they don't really want to be doing it.
Yeah, that was definitely me. And I put a lot of pressure on myself to try and figure out what that thing was. And I always used to say, I remember saying to my partner, I know once I find the thing, I'm going to really run with it. I just don't know what it is. And I had an awesome life. I even had a great job, but I just felt like quite miserable. And my advice for people would be to take the pressure off what you think is going to make you money and find the thing that, just lean into your hobbies and what you enjoy. And I think there's a lot around at the moment, especially on social media, about you can pick up a product and drop ship it, sell it, pick up this business model and just rinse and repeat. And for some people that works, but for me, I needed something that had a higher purpose and something I felt connected to.
Have you always been like quite creative and say like arty, or how would you term it?
Definitely as a kid, and as a teenager. And then once I definitely lost my way. And like I think of that period of my life when I worked a corporate role, I learnt so many skills. I really enjoyed those jobs, but I was like so beige, which for me is just so out of character. Like even when I look back at photos of myself, I'm like not wearing any colour. I wasn't painting. I wasn't doing anything creative.
Yeah. Wow.
Bizarre.
What?
Yeah.
Do you think that's like society? It's just the corporate kind of mould, or how does that happen to us?
I think I didn't have direction when I was younger in what I wanted to do. I knew what I enjoyed. But I remember finishing high school and telling my dad, like, I think I want to go to uni. I really like English. I like art. And he said to me, like, respectfully, awesome, I'll support you. But is there a job maybe that you are thinking of on the other side of that? Because if there isn't, why don't you still develop, in those areas? But is this the right path for you? And I just didn't have a path for quite a while. So my path was getting a job and trying to climb the ladder.
Yeah, I think there's so many answers for us in the things that we are interested in, or what we are maybe like slightly obsessive about. But I think obsessive has that negative word or connotation around it, so then we don't like explore it. But
yeah, that's interesting. Can you give me an example?
Well, I think that if you say that someone's obsessed about something, it's almost like, oh, well, that's not a good thing. That's dangerous. But you often find that people who do really well do have some form of obsession. They like can't stop learning about it. They could be relaxing, but they're like, nah, I want to do this, and it's relaxing for me to do that. And people will go, oh, you're obsessed with it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think for me, like putting all that pressure on myself to find my thing, whereas I had my thing all along. I just, because it was something I enjoyed, I didn't think of it as something that was going to be a career path for me.
Yeah, I think looking back even for myself, I could identify early on that I was entrepreneurial, but I kept picking paths that actually would take me further away from that. So like auditing, which is probably like the furthest away from it. And I'm like, no wonder I'm not thriving in this. And then I would have these ideas and I would get them to the start line and then be like, I don't know what to do from here. So then I would stop. And then I would like stick to, okay, CA, accounting, like good job, good income and whatnot. But yeah, there would always be this sense of, I need to be doing something, outside of this. And I think you've done it beautifully where you've transitioned well, where I think a lot of people want to go, I'm over it and I want to earn the same amount of money and do it within like 12 months. You're like, well, you don't even really know what you want, like what you want to be doing, and then how you're going to monetize it. You can't expect to like shortcut that and be exactly the same place financially, within, even 12 months.
Yeah, definitely. And I think even myself, who had like an 18-month runway of proving my concept, it was still a huge reality check for me.
Yeah.
Having to go out and have that be how I pay my mortgage. Yeah, definitely.
One of my goals is to help 100,000 Kiwis improve their financial literacy and in turn help create a better New Zealand. Generate has a very similar goal to educate and empower Kiwis to make smart KiwiSaver decisions so more of us can be better off at retirement. That's why I'm stoked to have them on board as sponsors. Together, we can reach more people and make this goal a reality. If you've never got KiwiSaver advice before, book a no obligation chat with a Generate advisor at generatekiwisaver.co.nz/change. They'll even put you in the draw to win 5k worth of vouchers just for having a chat, whether or not you decide to sign up. T's and C's on that webpage. A copy of the product disclosure statement is available at generatekiwisaver.co.nz. The issuer of the scheme is Generate Investment Management Limited, and of course, past performance does not guarantee future returns.
Did you do anything financially to sort of see how long you could last, or anything that people could learn from if they're planning on doing something like this?
Maybe what not to do.
Yeah.
So for me, obviously, quitting my job on maternity leave, I went from having a high-paying job to going out on my own, starting my business, which is great. Don't regret that at all. But that meant I had to renovate my kitchen. There's 20k chucked in my job. Also got married all in 1 year. So it was like the most financially disruptive year of my life. But I also think the way I've operated when Rose's Dining Table was just a side hustle into a business was that I didn't take on any debt. Like every dollar I spent, I had earned first to then reinvest. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. And then I guess because you've got the pressure of making it work, it then forces you, like what was the reaction on the corporate side when you said, hey, I'm not going to come back?
I think it was actually a really, for once, it was actually a job that was really easy to leave because like the support I got from people in my office for being like, wow, you're going to go chase your crazy dream? Go for it. Yeah, it was cool.
Wicked.
Yeah.
That's good. There wasn't any, you'll be back.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
Hey, let's go back then to, you start the page but you're not posting by the sounds for a deliberate, like, I'm trying to achieve this. So then it allows you, I imagine it allows you to be more creative and just in your flow and just putting things out to the world.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. And then the inquiry starts to come in. What would you suggest for people, like how can they get going on posting something or putting themselves out there without the sort of like, I need to be making $1 million or like replacing my income or whatever?
I always tell people, like, all you need to do is take the first step and the second will follow, then the third will follow. I just had a conversation with someone the other day wanting to do something similar. She said, I'm really nervous to go online. I'm just like, just do it. Rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah.
Like, stand in front of the camera, record it 10 times if you have to. But I know that feeling. It does make you feel violently ill, being like, here's a photo of me on Instagram. Like, I look back on some of my videos that I've still got on my page because they're so funny of me, like, teaching people how to make a chicken sandwich. And I'm like, that is like vomit inducing. But look at the opportunities it's unlocked me. No one cares as much about what you're doing as you do because they're all thinking about themselves.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great advice. Do you think it then actually, when you start doing it and doing it more often, do you think it actually builds like confidence and resilience in yourself?
100%. Yeah.
That's the bit I think people miss, is that they are not confident or self-conscious and they don't realise, well, actually by doing the thing, you might actually fix that.
Yeah, I don't even think might. I think definitely. Like the confidence I have now to approach people about an opportunity or just get online and make a video. Like it used to take me like 30 takes to record a recipe. Now I just post it and it's not perfect and great.
Nice.
Move
What is the basis or the bulk of the content that you're putting out these days?
At the moment, I do a lot around hosting. So a lot around my dinner parties and what I make and the menus and how to kind of simplify things for people because I still want to give people value and help people who maybe want to pick up some hosting tips at home as well.
Yeah. Okay, so you're doing recipes and stuff like that as well along the way?
Yep, I do recipes. I do a bit of collaboration work with, I like to work with New Zealand brands. And I also really like to share, I've shared a lot about my business journey whilst being a mum, because I think it's not something that's always easily accessible. And I do like to show people that it's not always easy, but it can be really rewarding.
So on that then, for the mums, like what's the key pieces of content or the messaging that we need to get them to understand? Like what's resonated the most from the content you've shared?
I think just that it's okay for it to be hard and it's okay for it to not be perfect.
Yeah.
And you are allowed to have a career because you want to have a career. Like I think when you become a parent, there's always this, it might make you a better parent if you're working because you're really fulfilled and then it's going to be great for your family. And although that's true, like it's also okay to still have ambition. Yeah.
Yeah. I think advice around like parenting and life and shit gets so oversimplified, eh? Yeah. Where it's like, oh, you should do this. And it's like, what if I don't even want to do that?
Yeah, I think it's a whole lot of pressure from each way. It's like, oh, you want to work? You don't want to be at home all the time? And then it's like, oh, you don't want to work? You just want to sit at home? It's like, can be a bit of a mind fuck. So I just choose to tap out of that, carve my own path and then share it in the hope that someone else will resonate with it.
Yeah, I can only imagine how hard that is for soon-to-be mums or new mums, because you just can't escape people's opinions. And some of them are so loud and I think so clicky. One thing I notice, and this may be big generalization, but often I'll go, I might go to a cafe, I might be on my own, and I'll just listen to what people are talking about. And often I hear with women, they're talking about other people. And I'm like, what are you doing? Whereas I think blokes are more ideas or something stupid, or did you see this, or a topic. And, again, it could just be a very unfair generalization. I could get myself cancelled here. But sometimes the things I'll overhear, the way they're talking about their friends or whatnot, I'm like, are you saying that to them? Are you brave enough to say that to them, or judging their life like that? Are you communicating that with them? Yeah,
definitely. And I think, I don't so much, I find that probably across a lot of people, but I think when you become a parent, whether you're a mum or a dad, that is just amplified. It's like you go back to saying the advice. I remember being 6 months pregnant and this person in a cafe was telling me, this is the sunblock you need to buy your baby. And I'm like, fuck, the baby's not even born yet. Just leave me alone.
Funny.
Yeah, it can be a lot.
My business partner who's got 3 children, he said to me ages ago, it's like, mate, you wait till you have a child, everyone wants to give you advice. And he's like, the best advice I could give you is just fucking nod at them. And, oh, okay, yeah, because you'll realise very quickly it all contradicts, and then 2 years later they'll be like, no, I never said that, and you should have been doing this, and you just end up being like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, 100%.
So when you're hosting people at the supper clubs, I think that's the key word that people probably may miss. You're actually hosting them, right? So you're there and helping them have a fully immersive experience. It's not like you kind of turn up, cook, and then, hey, enjoy your event, see you on the other side.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not a private chef. I don't claim to be. I call myself a host, a supper club host. So it's about setting a vibe for someone, finding out what kind of experience they want to have. What are they celebrating? I come in, I style the table, I make these kind of crazy, bright, beautiful tablescapes. Then I set the tone, which I think is really important. You need a host to kind of set the vibe, get the music going, get people talking. A lot of what I add to my supper clubs that I think as a point of difference from some of my competitors is little personal touches that get people talking. I add conversation starters, and then cook a 3-course bespoke menu based around normally what the person we're celebrating loves. Basically clean everything up so you can just have fun, enjoy yourself.
I think I saw one recently, and you were helping host a celebration of leaving or breaking up a year on or something.
Yeah.
It went pretty viralish on Instagram.
Yeah, it did. Someone reached out to me and said, hey, my friends had a really tough year, but a year of a lot of growth. It's a year since their breakup. Can you help me host? And I was like, absolutely, sign me up. Especially the reason I do what I do is to get people connecting. That's at the core of it. So to see a group of women all band around their friend and say hey, we're here for you, we support you, epic. It was so much fun.
Yeah, I thought that was so cool. Yeah, I almost felt a bit bad for whoever the partner was previously, seeing how happy everyone was. But anyway, no, I just thought it was cool that friends, would do something like that too, and then let you like post about it as well, because it's not an easy path to go on.
Yes.
Yeah, so good on them. And what any other supper clubs specifically that sort of stand out to you?
I did. I remember I did one. It was one of my first paid supper clubs since after I had my baby, and I had this woman who had been trying to have a baby for 10 years, and she'd finally gotten pregnant after having IVF, and it was her baby shower, and like to be a part of that special moment was just like, it was so cool.
Wow.
But I do everything. Like I hosted a 30th for like 30 guys the other day, It's just people celebrate in a different way now. They don't necessarily go out to a restaurant or even out to the pub. People are drinking less now too. So it's just a more unique way to celebrate.
Do you think this is a wave and it's only going to get bigger?
Yes, I think it kind of started within COVID because people started hosting again, having dinner parties, and it was like a resurgence of hosting.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the point where my food goals pivoted, because the first sniff I kind of got of, I want to work with food is, I want to have a restaurant. And then when COVID hit and all over the news, it was all these restaurants going bust because the margins are so low. I was like, well, that business model's not going to work for me. How can I kind of recreate that?
Yeah. There is something special about it. I've been to, a few hosted lunches as such that aren't at a restaurant, saying you're like, this is just cool because it's just us, and, it just feels, it's not as like fancy around the table at the restaurant or whatever. It was just, there's definitely something special about it.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's just being in your own space. It's exclusive. You can just be comfortable and do whatever you want to do. But when you hire someone like me, it's the added bonus of not actually having to do anything.
Yeah. And then how big do you plan to scale this up? Because I'd imagine you get to a point where there's only so many of these that you can do.
Yeah, that's where I'm kind of at now, at a bit of a fork in the road where I either look to scale and get some more people on board, or, other ways I can also generate income from it, like partnerships or product ranges, those kind of things as well.
All right, so any New Zealand brands out there that maybe want to talk about some form of partnership or sponsorship, get in touch.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Nice. And I think the one thing that I like from the outside, and something I've been big on, and you can see there's a massive wave of this too, is that community piece. And of the tickets that you've sold already for your event that's coming up, when is the event? Sorry, we didn't...
It is on the 27th of September in Tauranga.
22nd?
27th.
27th of September. So of the people, like when they're booking tickets, do you know who they are? Or what's that feeling like when you're like, oh, wow, this person's coming to my event?
Yeah, I do know a lot of them. Obviously a few are mates, but a lot of them are just people from my audience or people from my community, I guess I could say, that come to all of my events, that message me on like a Saturday night and they say, oh my gosh, Rose, like look at what I've cooked. Yeah. And that's one thing about creating that social media account that's been so valuable to me. It's like I've been able to create so many connections with cool people.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, I'm sure you'll sell it out. So can you already feel what it's going to be like to host 200 people? Is this the first time you would have hosted that many people?
Yes, it is. Yep. So it's a little bit anxiety inducing, but I'm kind of on that vibe at the moment where if it feels a bit scary, I know it's good and I've just got to go all in and obviously get the right support to do it. Yeah. Nice. But it's going to be epic. Yeah. Got some cool stuff planned.
What will success of that event look like to you, do you think?
Success of that event will definitely be feedback. It will be people coming to the event and saying afterwards, like, that was the best night of my life. Like, that's the energy I want. Everyone's got those nights that they've had in the past that they talk about with their mates for like the next 5 years. Being like, remember that night we did this? Yeah. That's what I want for that event.
It's pretty unique, right? So to help listeners picture it, they're going to roll up to an event with 200 people. A lot of them, they're not even going to know who these people are. They're all breaking bread together, sharing a couple of drinks, sharing stories, and being hosted for the night. Yes.
I mean, this is slightly different than my normal supper clubs because it's heavily themed and it's more of like an immersive dining event, but effectively it's a Las Vegas wedding. So we're asking people to come in theme. You can wear your mum's old wedding dress, you can dress up as Elvis, you can be a 80s ugly bridesmaid, you can do whatever you want. Everyone's welcome. You show up. There's going to be, for the evening, I'm creating a conceptual dining installation. So it's really hard to describe because not many people do what I do, but they will be hanging bread. They'll be, don't want to give too much away, the food will be basically a work of art that you walk up to, you interact with, and you eat directly from it.
Yeah.
From there, we've got a DJ. We've got some really epic sponsors. Obviously, it is a wedding, so we're just about to release this week that we have got a $5,000 engagement ring to give away to someone on the night, which is really exciting. But it's going to be more than a dinner. It's going to be more than a party. It's really, truly like an experience and something different to do on a Saturday night. Yeah.
I wish I was available. I'd be coming down.
Yeah, what's on the rugby?
Yeah, I think the rugby might be on that night we're already booked in for.
Yeah, I was quite strategic trying to get the event date out there early because I was like, we need to get, if the dad's going to go to the rugby, I've got to get the babysitting rights in first,
Nice.
the childcare watching rights first. Yeah.
All of the things you have to think about when hosting an event that people probably turn up to and they have no idea about the thinking that's gone into the background, right?
Yeah.
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 Hey, so how long ago since you quit your job?
My daughter is 2.5, so I would have quit maybe 18 months ago.
Nice.
Yep.
How much different is your life now to what it could have been like if you stayed on that path?
So incredibly different. I think I started to get tastes of it when I was still in my role, and then the first year of my business was just chaotic stress, and then now I'm coming into this place of like, oh my gosh, I feel like myself again, after spending like 10 years of not. Yeah, it's really cool.
Then how much different do you think you then show up as a mum on social media and as Rose now compared to, again, if you stayed on that path?
Definitely more authentically.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. And just because you don't have enough going on, you also hosted an art event I saw recently.
Yes, but I like to preface that with that, like that's being creative and painting is something I do for my mental health. So people often say to me like, how do you have time? Or you're doing everything. Whereas for me, that's something I had to prioritise for my mental health. And I'm just lucky that people like my art. So it's also an extra income stream. It's kind of two birds, one stone. Yeah.
Do you have a goal with like a number of people that you would like to try and host? Do you ever like let yourself daydream about that?
Maybe not so much the amount of people, but I think the creative scale definitely. Like the further I get along down the path of my business, the more creative my work gets.
Nice.
And the wetter it gets, which is what I really love. So I do have a big goal of being booked by an international client to go overseas and install like a big, beautiful, edible exhibition, something crazy like that. Yeah.
Wicked. All right, any international listeners that can link Rose up with whoever that is, that's cool. I like that people can actually, or have big goals, but are happy to voice them. I think you see something in there too that is a good lesson for us, that as you go deeper into this, the creativity increases, and you don't get to this point if you don't start the Instagram page and just start, right? Yeah,
definitely. Like 2 years ago, my goal it literally was to host an event for 30 people, a public event.
Wow.
For the Tauranga Food Festival. That was my big goal. And when I did that, that was like terrifying to me.
Yeah. Now you're about to 7X it on the 27th of September.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's only really maybe 18 months later from that. So it goes to show how fast you can increase your capability, definitely.
Yeah. So how did you come across Keep the Change?
I came across Keep the Change when I was probably at my lowest point in my business. I was like a year in. It was my first winter in business, first winter also having like a toddler in daycare where they're sick every second day. And I just felt like everything was so hard. I was like, I don't know how this is meant to work. And I don't know how I got on to Keep the Change, but I remember so clearly like being in the supermarket car park listening to this episode. And I think it was Mikey said something like, even if you're doing well, it's just really hard. Like the first 2 years are just a slog. And I was like, oh, everyone finds it hard. Like, I'm not failing. Because I couldn't understand why I felt like I was fully booked, but I didn't feel like I was winning. I was like, this is so hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then from there, I just started listening more, and it's helped me so much.
Yeah, that's
definitely.
awesome. Yeah, so we got you through the winter.
Yes, yeah.
Well, you got to
me
meet
through
Mikey
the
before.
winter. Yeah.
Got to meet Mikey before, and you asked him what he up to, and he's like, "Yeah, not much."
Yeah,
I said,
yeah.
He's got himself to the other end. Where he's, directed
full circle moment, eh? Yeah, for sure.
I think something that I often see for creative people is they either ignore or struggle with the financial side, and it can be an area where you don't want to learn about that side. Was it like that for you, or were you happy to dive into that and try and figure it out?
I think I learned some pretty tough money lessons from when I was probably in my 20s of really bad decisions. So I think by the time I got to my business, I wanted to learn head first because I did not want to be getting into debt. Yeah.
What do you think the number one mistake was if you were to take yourself back to day one with what you know now? Like financially, what would you do different?
In my life?
Or with the Rose's Dining Table journey? But we can give us your life lesson as well.
I think with Rose's Dining Table, I'm quite happy with how I've done it because I think I didn't overinvest at the start. I earned $1, spent $1 on what I needed to spend it on. Yeah.
Okay, then what about life? Because it seems like your brain gave you an answer.
It's almost embarrassing. I want to say it's laughable, but it's actually not laughable. But my relationship with money and debt when I was in my 20s was just shocking. I had a full-time job, pretty well-paying job for a 21-year-old. But still got an overdraft, which leads to a credit card, which, and I remember the first time I got an overdraft, it wasn't even for anything useful. Not that, you should ever get one, but I'm pretty sure I got it because I wanted to go out for brunch and I didn't have $50 to go out for brunch.
Yeah.
And to say that now versus my relationship, how I am with money now is just wild.
Yeah. How are you with money now? Would you explain?
Well, I just would not let myself get into that position. It's just a slippery slope. You get an overdraft, then you transfer the overdraft so you can get 0%.
Oh, yeah.
And then you don't close the account. So, sweet, I've ticked up another $2,000 in overdraft. And by the time I was 24, I would have had $16,000 of debt with nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
It's mad.
I think so many people would relate to that. And it's almost like you get the cheap or the easy money because, there's no one telling you not to, and it's accessible and it's easy. And you're right, you then go on the path and you realise there are all these different ways that I can get something for money. And there's a whole industry that is built on basically awesome, now you work for us basically for the next 2 years or whatever, you've got to pay all that shit back.
Yes, definitely. And I think that's where Keep the Change will be so valuable for young people. You get 16 to 18-year-olds listening to this and they're not going to make those same mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hope so. Yeah.
Yeah.
What advice are you going to pass on to your daughter about money?
I guess what the value of money is, teaching her the value of money and also just investing early. Your podcast has helped me to ensure that I can give her the best shot of compounding interest, investing early for her. Yeah.
Yeah, wicked. Yeah, I think that's such an incredible lesson I think I need to do more content on that because recently people have been asking me about that. Bro, is that legit? You can invest for your child at an early age and they end up with all this money. I'm like, yeah, it's not clickbait. It's genuine. Yeah. And I'm like, maybe I'm not explaining it well enough or it almost looks too good to be true. But I guess because we get to our 20s and then we go the wrong path and we take out all the debt and then we'd go project tidy up and then maybe I'll start investing. We're at, nearly towards 30. Whereas then if you look back and think, oh shit, if you invest really early on, then you've got all those years of compounding. But I think equally, even if you do that, parents are going to have to work through, okay, if they've then got access to all this money, how do we teach them the value of that?
Yes.
Yeah. I still invest. I did content ages ago, but every year I invest for my nephew and just building a little snowball.
Awesome.
Yeah, but I'm already I can see this turning into quite a bit of money. And when do we interrupt that? Is it for schooling? Is it for education? Is it for him starting a business? Don't know. But once he gets to an age, I'm going to figure out how do I teach him about this and what he couldn't see over the years.
Yeah, that'd be good if you could do a podcast on that for me because I think I'm at that stage where I invest.
Yeah.
But I couldn't tell you when she'll get it. Yeah. I don't have the answers, but I know that it's better to get it started early, get the snowball rolling, right?
100%. Yeah. Well, you've had an incredible 18 months, and I think, well, I can see, and I hope you can see in yourself, that this is only just starting. And I'm going to be fascinated to see where's Rose and Rose's Dining Table in 5 years' time. Probably internationally putting on some massive event in Spain or something. What's it done for your confidence, and what can you teach us about confidence?
I think it's done a lot for my confidence, but I think confidence, and people often ask me, like, what's your advice? How do I find my thing? I've got this idea, what should I do with it? And I think the most important thing, the one thing that's gotten me to where I am, is confidence. Like, if you don't have the self-confidence to say, I back myself, I can do it, no one else is going to start that for you or give it to you. Yeah, you've got to find it first.
How do we build that confidence or self-confidence?
I don't know. I think for me it was I was raised by parents who really instilled that in me and encouraged me and celebrated me. So I think naturally I grew up with that. But also you've got to have, I think, confidence to nurture that. You've got to have a little bit of like a I don't give a fuck attitude about giving things a try. Like, you can't be scared to fail.
Yeah.
Like, I'll try 10 things, maybe 5 of them land, but I don't care if they all land. You know, you just give it a crack and then you'll get confidence when you see wins.
Yeah, I did a podcast recently with Eugene, and the UFC coach, and he was talking about the biggest thing that the athletes can take into the octagon or into a fight is basically self-belief. And I was asking him the same thing, like, well, then how do we build the self-belief? Because I think so many New Zealanders don't have, like, they have all that they need and then they get stuck. They're like, you know, like the DMs that I'll get where I think, you've figured all this out, you're just not taking the action, you know? And the question, I'm almost like, if you just step back and go, okay, if someone asked me that, how would I answer it? And often it's very clear that somebody does know what they need to do. They're just shit scared of taking the action. Yeah,
I definitely agree. And I think it's also those kind of people, they wouldn't talk about their friends how they talk about themselves. So if you wouldn't, you know, if you wouldn't say those mean things about your friends, why are you saying them about yourself? Yeah. Because that's, I think, holds so many people back. I hear from people all the time, friends with amazing ideas, and the only thing that's holding them back is having confidence.
Yeah, so a bit of like self-doubt and
a bit of self-doubt.
Yeah, I think the other part of it is we want things quickly. So, you know, they see what you're doing now, for instance, and then they want to jump to that, but don't realise, like, oh no, you've got to do the chapters. Like, you haven't read these chapters, and there's some chapters that people will never understand about your life or the things that you've figured out and done, and they'll just see the next reel or the event and go like, oh, well, I could be doing that. But you've got to really want to do the work on yourself too, I think.
Yeah, 100%. Because when you're in that tough stage of getting a business off the ground, that's what you have to rely on, I think. Because it's not the money getting you through at the start or the hours. You know, you start your own business, you can have flexible hours. But when you're first starting out, you're working every second of the day that you can to get it off the ground. So there has to be something inside you that's like, I can do this, I believe it, just keep going, keep going.
Yeah, and I think like blocking out the noise too, because even when you say something like, oh, you end up working, you know, every moment of the day, then somebody who doesn't want to do that, that's maybe a new mum's going to be like, oh, you shouldn't be doing that, you know, I'd imagine. So then you've got to like really believe in what you're doing and just focus and have the foot on the gas. Yeah,
and there was definitely a time for me where I did have that doubt. Because I definitely underestimated how difficult it would be to learn to be a new mum, plus learn to be a business owner at the same time. But just having that confidence helped me get through that. And I think as well, the other thing about self-confidence is people are so willing to help you if they can see that you believe in yourself. I think that has to come first. And then like the amount of support I've had from people in the community, or just even people who follow me who can see I'm struggling with something, will put up their hand and say, hey, I can probably help you with that.
Yeah, that's cool.
I can put you in touch with this person. Like, I haven't experienced that tall poppy syndrome. I've had the opposite. I think people are really willing to help you if you can put yourself out there.
Yeah. Well, you wait till you 10x that following count, and then you'll you'll be fine. But by the time you get there, it'll be water off a duck's back. But I do notice that about your social content. Like, a lot of it's very positive and very supportive, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's very hard to argue with like what you're doing out there, and you're bringing people together. You're giving them a great time. You're building events for the community to give access to other people as well.
I think as well, if you put yourself out there on social media, you have to be prepared that not everyone's going to like you.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah, we've got to normalise that. All right, before we get out of here, what's the most common DM or question that you get? Is it about how do I start my thing, or is it how do I get better at cooking, or what do you normally see coming through the DMs?
Definitely how did you figure out what you wanted to do? You know, which we touched on before, just focusing on what makes you happy, what you enjoy. I get a lot around time management, like how can I cook everything at the same time and still enjoy my dinner party?
Yeah. Funny, because just about every time Taz cooks and has to boil the pot, it overflows. And she's had meltdowns over it. I'm like, why is this such a big deal? But she gets frustrated by the same thing. She's like, I'm trying to time everything at the same time.
Yeah.
Does one get better at that?
Definitely. Yeah, one does get better at that. But I think that's the pain point I try and solve with my business, is that when you host, you want to enjoy catching up with your friends. You don't want to be stressing about your pot boiling over.
Yeah.
I'm trying to work on, at the moment, I'm working on a guide for people to kind of do a DIY supper club at home. So to kind of teach some of those tips and tricks on how you can host, work on your time management, and pull it all together.
Okay.
Be stress-free. Yeah.
So you've got the event coming up on the 27th of September. Any future events? We'll get through this one first.
Get through this one first.
Is your brain already ideating on the next one?
Yeah. And I just had a big New Zealand brand reach out yesterday with a massive event.
Wow.
Like a week after Chapel.
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
So that was really cool.
Are you going to throw yourself in the deep end?
Yeah, I think I have to. Again, I got off the phone and the person said to me oh yeah, we're going to have some celebrity chefs there. And again, wanted to throw up because I was like, well, I'm not taking that booking. I'm not cooking for that person. And then I was like, okay, got to check myself.
Yeah.
Make it work.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even when you get to this stage, I think it's good for people to understand that you still, you still have this pinch yourself, or maybe even imposter syndrome, or the body is like, shit, don't get this wrong, right? And you have that reaction.
Yeah, not so much imposter syndrome, but definitely nerves. We all have that. We all feel like we're underprepared, and as well, when you're trying to develop yourself or your business, you are shooting a little bit higher than what your capabilities are. So, but that's how you learn. You just you give it a crack, figure it out. Yep.
So they're hosting an event, and that's one where you'll come in and you'll help put it together and support it. Yeah. You're building from ground up.
Yeah, my event, Chapel, is a public event, so that's a way for kind of anybody who maybe doesn't want to book me at home or doesn't have an event for me to come into your home. It's a great way for someone to come and experience what I do on a bigger scale.
Cool. And those who want to book you to come in and do an event at their home or wherever they're going to be hosting people, do you just keep it to the Bay of Plenty, or where are you going?
No, I do travel. I kind of travel across the Waikato, Coromandel, and also Auckland every now and then as well.
Yeah. All right. If people want to find more of what you're up to and understand it better, where's the best place to do that?
I think just check me out on Instagram at Rose's Dining Table, and you'll see my website on there too.
Yeah, wicked. All right. Well, I will link the Instagram and LinkedIn as well, maybe?
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
Cool.
And the website into the show notes, and people can follow along, because you do a lot of content showing different people's events, right? I imagine you've then got to ask them hey, you all good for us to... Yeah, but people can get creative ideas from what other people are doing, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Cool. Well done on what you're doing out there. I love how you're in the depths of a recession as well, like building an event for the community. I think that if we look at sport and different events people are going to, we need more of these things, and they take people like yourself to actually have the confidence to go out and build it, when all of the data and the narrative is well, don't do that. People won't have the money for that. And you're proving them all wrong. So well done.
Yeah. Cheers. Thank you.